Hello, everyone. I call to order this work session of the Hillsboro School District Board of Directors. Before we begin, we would like to provide some important information about interpretation services. Please remember to speak clearly and directly into the microphones at a moderate pace. Please do not speak over one another so that you can accurately convey your message. Thank you for your cooperation. Our first item of business is to discuss the CCAC selection process with Assistant Superintendent Brooke Nova. Brooke, how much time do we have left on that timer?
We have about 2 minutes, so we can either, if everyone feels like they've had enough time, we can start on the presentation and listening. We can definitely honor those 2 more minutes. Can do the thumbs up.
I think I'm good.
Okay, how are you feeling? You want 2 more minutes?
I'm happy to go ahead.
You're good? Okay, so if we could cue up the presentation, I'm ready.
Sorry, which one are we doing?
We are on CCAC.
Cool. We're gonna roll with it.
It's approximately 10 slides. Cool, okay.
1 second, coming up right now.
Here we go. Okay, Brennan, I'll try to kind of tick through this piece since we have both people joining us online and in person, and I also have some statements to read today as well. So, CCAC.
I got it.
You are?
No, I'm sorry, we're a mess, so you're gonna do it online, I'm gonna do it in
Oh,
person.
okay,
Sorry.
that's just fine. That's okay.
Sorry.
No,
We're making it work.
You can just look at mine to see what the.
no, it's okay, I got it. I got these slides, I got it, we're going, here we
Yeah.
are. Okay,
Sorry,
next
Brooke.
slide, it's okay, we got this. Okay, so CCAC, as we know, helps to make recommendations about our curriculum and then also instructional programs and courses as well. This is a board-appointed committee. This is a reminder of what is in our roles and responsibilities outline. Okay, so tonight, I just want to let you know, we have 6 student member openings. We have 9 community member openings for a total of 15. Because we have 5 members that are returning into their second year. We had 1 member who has decided to step down from their position and 1 who unfortunately passed away early last year. So that's why we have an additional 2 openings for our community role members this year. Advertising already released. We have a great turnout of applicants. Those are just outlining of some of the ways that we were able to get this information out. This is the 5 members that will be returning, as well as how they identify in race. So 2 returning members did not specify, and then 2 returning members identify as white, and 1 returning member identifies as Hispanic. As shared earlier tonight, today we were informed that Angelica is withdrawing the application, so there are 11 community members who have applied for those 9 community member spots. This is how they represent in their identified race. 8 identify as white, 1 identifies as Black African American, and now 2 identify as Hispanic, Latino, Latinx. We have 6 student openings, and we have 6 students who have submitted applications. That is the schools that they represent, as well as their demographics. We have 2 students that identify as Hispanic, Latino, Latinx, Latinx. We have 3 students who represent, who indicate they are white, and then 1 student who identifies as Asian. The schools that represent are 2 from Liberty, 2 from Glencoe, 1 from Hillsboro Online Academy, and 1 from Century. Next. Okay, so we also know that it is a priority of our board to ensure that our CCAC represents the diversity within our community, so that's why I just wanted to make sure I outlined how our students and how our applicants identify as well. And with that too, we're going to provide 1 minute or less for either our in-person, online, or statements to be read about why they are interested in joining our Community Curriculum Advisory Committee. And then we will give you some time to deliberate and vote. And Stephanie, who I've not introduced yet, so I should do that. Stephanie Moreno is our amazing administrative assistant who helps both Fran and I through EEAC, CCAC, and a variety of other duties on this journey. So tonight she will also be helping to facilitate our audience through the CCAC process as well and help tabulate some of those votes as we go into our downstairs session. All right, so with that, I'm going to transition to those who are on Zoom, who I believe are our student representative Jessie from Liberty, Oprah, and Marie. So those three names should be popped up in the Zoom to ask to join. Jessie, Oprah, and Marie. And we're going to have them first present their statement. And then on deck is everyone who is joining us.
The right link,
I'm having issues joining the Zoom meeting tonight, so I'm not going to be able to present it right now.
Okay. Well, then,
But they're in our Zoom meeting, so we should be able to hear them.
okay.
I'm going to try and join so I can show you their.
Turn my screen and we'll do our best that way. How about that? We'll do it right now.
Okay. And we'll say, Jessie Alonso Garcia, can you hear my voice?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so Jessie, if you could share a minute or less why you're interested in being a student representative for us on CCC.
Yeah, so first of all, my name is Jesse Alonso Garcia. Currently, I'm a rising junior at Liberty High School. And my interest into being a candidate or even a student in the CCAC is that there are classes and curriculums that do influence students' decisions and mentality on where they like to go study or work in their future. But currently, we need more options. We need more diversity of pathways, and we need more. I can't really change it, but more teachers that are willing to teach. And so, yes, I'm willing to learn and create change within the community with my partners and with all other people as well. And yeah, that is to bring more ideas, to bring more diversity, more careers into our school systems, not just Liberty, but Glencoe, Hill High, and Century. So this is why I'm interested into the CCAC. And yes, thank you.
Thank you, Jessie. You know, that was perfect. That was exactly a minute. I just want to let everyone know if it goes over a minute, I will make a sound like, time's up. Okay, I just wanted to warn everyone. But that was perfect, and thank you. Next, Oprah, are you with us tonight?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. If you would like to share a little bit about your interest in continuing on CCC.
So my name is Orpa. I have a daughter that goes to Jackson Elementary, and I had the privilege of serving in the committee the last school year, and I really enjoyed it. And I feel that I still have a lot of knowledge and input that I can add to the committee. That's why I applied to serve again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And then our final person who's joining us online is Marie. Are you with us, Marie?
Can you hear me okay?
Hi, welcome, yes.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, Board, and members of the public. My name is Marie Bowman Davis. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. Over the past 5 years, my Black genderqueer child living with invisible disabilities has been academically and personally supported by curriculum, staff, teachers, and administrators here in the Hillsboro School District. I want to join the Community Curriculum Advisory Committee because I believe my child and other marginalized persons are worthy of seeing themselves in the curriculum. They are deserving of having equitable access to education, careers, and safe, supported, healthy environments where they are accepted as their whole selves. This can be achieved in part through long-range curriculum planning and development. Thank you.
Those who are joining us us on Zoom, you are more than welcome to stay with us. If you need to exit, I know, for example, Jesse needs to go to another meeting at 6:30. Feel free to leave our Zoom link. I just wanted to give you permission. That is fine, and thank you again for your time in applying and also being here this evening.
Thank you.
Okay, next thank you. We're going to transition to in-person. First, we're going to have Hannah share why she would like to return to CCAC.
Is there a best place for me to stand? Right there. Great. So I'm Hannah Holes. I am applying for my second term in the CCAC, and I have 3 children in the Hillsboro School District and 1 recent graduate. My initial interest in the CCAC was because I have 2 children with a specific learning disability in reading, however, over the past 2 years, and so I was interested in literacy instruction. However, over the past 2 years, I've really enjoyed working with all the classes, and I'm very excited about the math curriculum that's coming up. My schooling was in engineering. So if I'm allowed another term, my intent is to encourage student selection that ignites creativity, prepares students for the future, and is accessible to a wide variety of needs. And I forgot to say, my pronouns are she, her. So thank you for your consideration.
Hannah. Thank you. Next we have Eva.
Hi.
Hi, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Of course. Well, good evening, members of the board and public. Thank you for allowing us to come introduce ourselves. My name is Eva Hawes. I use she, her pronouns. I've been living in the Hillsboro School District for about 15 years. I have 2 kiddos, an 8th grader and a 5th grader, been educated in Hillsboro since their kindergarten year. I am a public health scientist and epidemiologist and health educator by training. I am overjoyed to be here to be considered for an application for this committee. I have experience in curriculum development and training material development, and I would really like to have an opportunity to give back to my community in a way that I'm able to do so in my professional career as well. So thank you for consideration.
Next, do we have Alaheni with us this evening? Alaheni, hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Alaheni Mata, and I have a 1st grader. The reason why I would like to be considered is because my approach will be about the shooting and the causes. How the minds of our children are being a minefield of vulnerability that is being attacked. I'm just gonna be straightforward. That's it. Thank you.
Jennifer is next, sharing why she would like to return to CCAC.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Bell. This will be my 2nd term with the CCAC if chosen. When I joined the CCAC 2 years ago, I had a incoming kindergartner and really wanted to learn more about Hillsboro School Districts, really wanted to learn more about the schools, the classes, and the past 2 years in CCAC, I think it has gone beyond that. Being able to go in and be in the pilot visits for different curricula and see how different students are learning, what works well for some, what works well for others, and then working with the other members of CCAC, working with Brooke and previously with Travis, and working with the team that puts it all together with Hillsboro Schools has been incredible. And being able to try to determine what is going to be the best programs that fit a large number and the whole body as a whole and possible has been really outstanding. For myself now, I do have a 2nd grader. He goes to Patterson Elementary. I will have a kindergartner at Patterson next year, and so we will be with Hillsboro Schools for a very long time. But thank you very much for the opportunity to serve the last 2 years, and thank you for the possibility to serve again. Thank you.
Next, I believe we have Matthew with us, a student who's interested in representing from Liberty High School.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Matthew Healy. I'm a junior at Liberty High School, and I want to serve on the CCAC because I'm really, really passionate about education and learning. I've been in the school district for my entire life, and I've had a lot of experience with different kinds of curriculums, how different students learn differently, and I just want to have an impact on their education. I've taken a lot of different classes, like core classes, AP classes, and even online classes. I've seen all different kinds of curriculum, and them work well with students on many different factors, and that knowledge from my experiences will help the board and the education of the students in Hillsboro School District.
Okay, I believe Riley is here from Century High School. Hi, Riley.
Hi. My name is Riley Gregory, she, her. I'm a senior at Century High School, and I want to improve our education for the future generations. So I'm interested because I myself have had a 504 plan since second grade for my Crohn's disease, and I have experienced myself the impact that our education has and how it can be more equitable to disabled students. And so I'm really passionate about making sure our curriculum is equitable to marginalized communities.
Ms. Riley, thank you. I believe our other students tonight are here just learning. Yes. Yep, okay, so I think we've covered everyone in the audience. I just want to make sure. So I think we have everyone in the audience. I'm going to read some statements from some other applicants. First, I'll start with Lucy Allen. She is a student who's applying from Hillsboro Online Academy. Stephanie is going to hold me accountable for reading a minute or less. Okay, here we go. So Lucy Allen, I am an 11th grader and have been in the Hillsboro School District since kindergarten. I am interested in being a part of CCAC committee because I want to help make meaningful decisions for my community. I have experience with the Hillsboro School District curriculum, both in person and online, and I provide the perspective of an HSD student. In addition, I find the idea of evaluating curriculum options interesting, and the experience in participating in a committee like this will be educational. So that is Lucy. And I believe we have Paige, who is a applicant from Glencoe High School. I'm a student at Glencoe High School, and I would like to be considered for the CCAC because I can offer a first-hand perspective on problems about school's curriculum. I have also always wanted to be a part of the improvement of children's education. Education is one of the most important aspects of a child's development. Thank you. Next, we have a community member applicant named Dan Hinckley. My name is Dan Hinckley. I have 3 children who have attended the Hillsboro School District. My own public school education launched me on an academic trajectory that included earning a PhD in chemical engineering and continues with lifelong learning. I believe that all children deserve a progressive curriculum that ignites their love of learning and prepares them to participate in the modern workforce. I'm excited to work with the school board to make changes as needed to the existing curriculum. Thank you.
Brooke, who was that again?
That is Dan Hinckley.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, next we have Lindsay Slick, who is also a community member applicant. My son is a kindergartner at Quality Ridge Elementary School in North Plains. We have lived in the district for the last 8 years. Over the course of the last 3 years, I've had the opportunity to grow as a literacy educator by joining my district literacy adoption committee, becoming a member of the literacy leadership team, and taking the letters course. With this conference, I realized how important structured literacy is for all. In a school environment, I know that we have an increasing need to provide students with explicit structured reading instruction to try to reverse the current trend of students working below grade level. The Community Curriculum Committee is a way to facilitate my learning in an actionable way to help a large population of students. Thank you for your consideration. Next, we have community applicant Shirley Pate. Hello, I'm Shirley Pate. I am a proud graduate of Hillsboro School District, as are my children. As a former teacher and school counselor, most recently at Patterson Elementary, I have always had the best throughout my career in education. I believe that strong that meets every student at their level and moves them forward to achieve at the highest level of teaching. I look forward to serving also put a photo of her graduating class of 1969. Okay, next we have another community member applicant, Jimena Van Dyke. Hello, my name is Jimena Van Dyke. I am a resident of Hillsboro with a child currently in eighth grade at Evergreen Middle School. My interest in joining the Community Curriculum Advisory Committee comes from my passion in being a voice for those who have historically been excluded from the decision-making process for communities to mark. I believe in the district's direction and commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion as is essential in improving our education system for our children and future students, and would be honored to be a part of that commitment. Thank you for considering my application. Okay, I think this is my final one. This is community applicant Lauren Jones. I was born and raised in the Hillsboro School District. I started at West Union, then went to Evergreen before graduating from Glencoe in 1997, and have lived in the district almost my entire life. I have a son currently going to Patterson Elementary, and while I am unable to take the time to volunteer in his class and on a regular basis, I would like the opportunity to contribute in some way, and I feel through this committee would be a great opportunity to do so. In my professional career, I've spent a lot of time as a trainer in selected training programs that need to cater to a wide range of learning types and personalities. I feel like that experience would make me a great addition to the CCAC. Thank you for your time. Okay, so those are all of our written statements, and then online and in person. So Stephanie is going to walk our in-person applicants downstairs, or you are free to go for the evening. Thank you again for the time of applying and also being here tonight. I just wanted to say that.
If they want though, right? Like.
Yeah, I also want to give you time to be able to deliberate and have a conversation.
Right, but it's like public meeting. You guys can stay if you want. Right. Like you don't have to go.
Yeah, they're like, I'm done.
Yeah, like people sit back there all the time. They don't have to go.
Mark is like, I just want to know.
I don't love that.
You have a second. I just wanted to also make sure you have some time. They'll join us.
They only care.
Rose is going to connect with Stephanie, who has the voting, but also just want to give you some time to ensure that you could have a conversation around some of the applicants.
Mark?
Based on my review of the material, it appears like we have room for all of the student applicants. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So no need to vote or worry about students. All the students who applied will be, I think, if do we all have to like do vote for them, or can we all just like agree that the students should be all seated, or?
Downstairs, you will still need to
Yeah.
appoint them if you choose to select all six. Yeah, so you would want to fill out their names.
Yeah.
And ensure you have the option to vote all six in. If
We're doing like a Google vote thing again, or what's our?
Yeah, that's what I think Rose is getting right now. Paper.
Physical paper, okay. Also based on looking at it, so question I've asked every single time, is there any reason that the 3 people who wish to continue shouldn't continue, or like, no excessive tardiness or unruly behavior?
Not to anything of.
It's pretty wild on this.
Yeah, pretty wild on the CCAC. Right. So, if I were to vote to keep the 3 people who wish to continue, then we would have 8 remaining applicants for 6 positions. Is that about right?
That is correct.
Okay.
So in your kind of organizational tool, I tried to highlighted yellow are the 3 who have served before, and then we have the remaining applicants for the first term.
We're again blessed with an excess of riches where we have more people who wish to volunteer than we can but really only 2 people will not be able to participate. So I'm grateful to everybody that applied, and I'm sorry that those 2 people won't be able to serve, but I'm so glad that we have a wonderful new class.
Can I just say that it's a very minor point, but as someone who appreciates well-designed information and charts, this chart of everyone's name and position with the links, open their application is incredibly good work. That makes our job very
Totally agree.
Put it in this document.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you. I'm glad I'm really trying to make sure we did everything for you in a way that helps you just to have everything at your fingertips and all the things.
Yeah, that's right. Made everything very clear, like exactly where we were. It was awesome. So are we, or other people have questions?
Could I ask, as a kind of, sometimes when I'm listening to people on Zoom and trying to think about what they're saying and take notes, I miss their name, and I'm not 100% sure I've got the names matched up to the people right. So you have a list of everyone who appeared on Zoom, just so I can make sure I put that down.
Are you ready? Okay. The first was our student applicant, Jesse. And then we heard from Oprah, who is looking to continue in service. And we have a new applicant who's looking to apply for a first term of service, Marie. Yeah.
And Yvette and I were sort of several of our student applicants were also school board applicants. Is that right? Like,
yeah.
That they seemed very familiar, and I'm very glad you all got seated. But it was a very competitive, and they were all pretty amazing. So I'm very grateful to see that those students remain interested in serving and enrolled in the district. It's kind of awesome.
You're done, let me know.
Are you still looking for Michelle? Are you still looking for a budget point number?
I am.
Great.
No, there isn't a point to this. We gotta give them the hard sell.
Oh, yeah, the 2 people who don't get seated? The 2 people don't get seated, yeah, that's...
Your school district needs you.
Like 2 people here are interested in participating, they're not getting seated, but yeah, right.
And tomorrow when we share with, we'll call each person and let them know regardless. We can also share that information about their opening for budget.
Wait.
Yeah, I think Patrick's doing that. Jesse's Yvette's brother. The word. She says Oprah. She didn't tell enough horror stories.
Oh, he's like, no, I
And not
want
want to be,
It's also like sibling competition, right?
Oh. Right?
Yeah. Horror stories?
She did.
Let's move on. Thank you.
Oh, to the next item? Okay. No, discussion, sorry. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move, to our next discussion. And our final agenda item of the work session is to discuss OSBA elections. The two open positions from the Washington region of the OSBA board. This year, position 15 currently held by Christy Kotke from Forest Grove School District, and position 20 currently held by Nancy Thomas are open. Our job here today is to discuss whether or not we'd like to nominate someone for those positions. I think we should start off by opening the floor to Nancy.
Excuse me. I know that at one point that I said that I was a little bit worried about the organization, but I got to tell you, I feel really good about where we're going, where we're headed. I'm looking forward to helping them get to the next level. We've got our executive director. We have absolutely, we're very excited about having her. We've got some sustainability work to do for the organization without dipping into the realm. But I can tell you that it really has been a pleasure working with them. I'm looking forward to another year. So I would love to be your nominee again, unless there's someone else who thinks they can do it better, and I'm happy to allow that.
I remain grateful that you're doing this work. I think you're the right person to continue doing this work. I think OSBA provides valuable services to our district on many fronts and to our state, all the school districts, representing rural to urban extremely well. And at every gathering I've ever been a part of, we all agree that we're just there to put the best needs of kids first, and it's amazing. It had a little bit of a rocky period, and I appreciate you doing the work of trying to correct that.
Thank you. Patrick?
Yeah, I'm really excited that you're willing to keep doing it. You're one of the most qualified people we have here in Hillsboro for this sort of leadership role. And I went 2 months ago, and you said there was a point where things happening, you had to sit them down and remind them what the mission was. You did it a tactful, I didn't mean to say, but I appreciated that, because sometimes you need someone who's doers of the organization to say, hey, let's focus on our mission while we're still doing it.
Volunteer, and I know that we have not
25 years.
That's crazy.
tried to accommodate for, as we all know, sustainable for them to not be great for 25 years. And they provide a lot of services, especially to our smaller rural districts that can afford to, they rely on services and insurance coverage that they can't. A lot of reasons why that organization, even help us. And also, we don't have a lot of rallying everybody together at work.
And we don't have to keep up.
I also wanted to say thank you, Nancy, for doing this and all the work that you do. They are lucky to have you, just like we are. Any other comments?
I would just say thanks to Nancy too, just since we're piling on. To go to the OSBA conference and sat with Nancy, and she represents us and uses her voice. I think a lot of the folks at the table will watch and listen, and I appreciate your leadership. Thank you.
Do we have anything we need to do up here besides just make a motion downstairs?
Yep, we just needed to discuss this, and then downstairs, motion. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Rose.
All right, with that, we will now recess the work session. No, just
Figure out
kidding.
if we don't know the results.
The results.
Stephanie, you agree with this?
Yeah, I'm just making sure.
Forgetting about this.
We have Jennifer Bell, Orpa Albert, Hannah Holt, Ava Haas, Shirley Pate, Marie Bowman Davis, Jimena Van Dyke, Lindsay Slick, and Lauren Jones. So we didn't take forward Dan Hinckley or Elheni Mata.
And all the students got enough votes to,
Yes.
Do we have to make a motion to potentially ask those that we didn't move forward to invite them? No?
We don't have to do anything with those people. We will extend that invitation second.
budget committee.
Yes, we have, that ready to go. We'll get that ready to go.
The thing we discussed during agenda planning was, have we in the past, I couldn't remember, read 6 students, 15 people's names downstairs? Or can you just say the group we agreed to upstairs? Read them all? You think that's what the motion has to be?
I just think we need to be able to,
I remember that he read
Okay, yeah, I will do as I'm told.
Okay. So we don't need to announce it too, that works. Okay. You don't need to.
Just the ones
people that were, that were,
Okay.
so that list, so I guess you can make sure you take the list from.
Yes.
Yes.
He's writing them in right now, and then we'll pass that off to Mark, and Mark can make the motion and someone can second, and then.
I think it's to read it all again.
Read it all again. Good?
That sounds great.
Thank you, Brooke. It's a lot of hard work. Thank you, thank you.
And yes, Stephanie, they were very complimentary of the, is she on? Oh, she's
right here.
She's right behind the document, they love it.
Oh, so good. So good, very well presented.
Outstanding.
And with that, we will now move,
The work session and
in the regular session downstairs.
Can you guys hear me? Okay, good evening. The Hillsboro School District 1J Board Directors regular session is now in order. We will begin like we always do with the flag salute. The flag is in the corner by the window. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next I will be reading the Hillsboro School District Land Acknowledgement. As we gather here today, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge that the district service area is on the occupied traditional homelands of the Aquatity Indigenous peoples' lands we now call Washington County and the state of Oregon. We honor the Indigenous people whose traditional and ancestral homelands we stand on the Tualatin, Kalapuya, Klamath, Clackamas, Tumwater, Molalla bands of the Chinook, and many other indigenous nations of the Columbia River. In remembering these communities, we honor their legacy, their lives, and their ancestors. We also recognize the urban, indigenous, native First Peoples community living in the metro area, which includes over 400 tribal nations. The Hillsboro School District is committed to the recognition and the education regarding tribal and local history, and working with our local tribes in partnership. Before we begin, we would like to provide some important information about the interpretation services. Please remember to speak clearly and directly into the microphones at a moderate pace. Please do not speak over one another and so that interpreters can accurately convey your message. Thank you for your cooperation. Our next agenda item is the recognitions and proclamations. Our first item will be to accept recommendations, appointments, students' representatives to the Board of Directors and administer the oath of office. Would someone like to make a motion?
I move that the Board of Directors accept the recommendation of the Interview Committee and appoint Gwen Condor, Kai Civil, and Abraham Staffa to serve as student representatives to the Board of Directors for the 2024-2025 school year and administer the oath of office.
Second.
Director McGuire moved, seconded by Director Ward, that the Board of Directors accept the recommendation of the Interview Committee and appoint Gwen Kander, Cal Civil, and Abraham Staff to serve as student representatives to the Board of Directors for the 2024-25 school year and administer the oath of office. Is there any discussion? Rules.
Erica Lopez.
Aye.
Patrick McGuire.
Aye.
Nancy Thomas.
Aye.
Monique Ward.
Aye.
Mark Watson.
Aye.
Yvette Pantoja.
Aye.
Thank you.
The motion carries. Can you please join me at the podium to administer the oath of office? I'll go ahead and start with Abraham. And yeah, you can just read it. Oh no, raise your right hand. Count.
I, Constable, support the Constitution and the laws of the United States and Oregon, and will discharge the duties of student representative in the Hillsboro School District Board of Directors to the best of my ability.
Gwen. Congratulations. Can we get a quick photo? Rebecca? Our next item is our proclamations, and we'll begin with Director Lopez.
Good evening, everyone. The Hillsboro School District observes Latinx Heritage Month, a time to celebrate the achievements, histories, traditions, and cultural diversity of Latinx Americans, who, according to the latest U.S. Census, were over 19.5% of the total population, or 65.2 million people, making Latinx Americans the largest racial or ethnic minority in the country. The Hillsboro School District remembers the observation started in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon B. Johnson, and was enacted into law on August 17, 1988 under President Ronald Reagan. to cover a 30-day period starting on September 15 and ending on October 15. The Hillsboro School District honors the vibrant history and diverse cultures of Hillsboro's Latinx community as a central part of our state's story and recognizes that the people of Latinx descent contributed to the prosperity and culture throughout the history of the Hillsboro School District. The Board of Directors of the Hillsboro School District do hereby proclaim a month of September 15th to October 15th, 2024 to be Latino X Heritage Month. We urge all community members to join us in recognizing the many contributions and achievement of the Hispanic and Latinx community, Americans, to the development and prosperity of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Lopez. Next item is with Workforce Development Proclamation read by Director Watson.
The Hillsboro School District recognizes the impact that workforce development programs have had in rebuilding our economy, building our pipeline to good, quality jobs, and supporting underserved communities. The Hillsboro School District knows that workforce development programs bring together leading business, labor, education, and other critical partners to showcase the impact workforce programs have on building our workforce. The Hillsboro School District values that the investment in education, training, and future career advancement of HSD students is crucial to their ability to compete in the global economy and achieve economic equity. The Hillsboro School District understands that collaboration among all members of the local workforce development system, including industry partners, workforce development entities, and community-based organizations, is critical to system alignment and preparing our workforce to meet not only the current but future labor needs of our community. The Board of Directors of the Hillsboro School District do hereby proclaim the month of September 2024 to be Workforce Development Month. We urge all community members to join us in recognizing that we must work together to make our schools safe, secure, and peaceful places for learning, teaching, and working.
Our next item is Safe Schools Week Proclamation read by Director Nancy Thomas.
Good evening. The Hillsboro School District acknowledges the importance of Safe Schools Week in October and remains committed to ensuring that every student feels safe, respected, and valued. I just want to pause there, that you feel safe, respected, and valued. It's very important. And valued in our learning environment. We recognize that fostering belonging and inclusion is essential for students to thrive. The Hillsboro School District understands that educational equity can only flourish in school settings where safety, respect, and emotional well-being are prioritized. We believe that all students have the right to learn in an environment free from fear, harm, or discrimination. The Hillsboro School District encourages schools, families, communities, and organizations to collaborate in creating safe spaces by addressing and preventing bullying, harassment, cyberbullying, and all forms of bias, including racism and hate. The Hillsboro School District is committed to raising awareness and ensuring that all children are protected and supported. The Hillsboro School District believes that it is important to focus public attention on school safety and identify, develop, and promote answers to these critical questions. The Board of Directors of the Hillsboro School District do hereby proclaim the week of October 16th through the 20th, 2024 to be Safe Schools Week. We urge all community members to join us in recognizing that we must work together to make sure our schools are safe, secure, and peaceful places for learning, teaching, and working. Thank you.
Our last item is the National Principals Month Proclamation read by Director Patrick McGuire.
Good evening, friends and guests. It's an honor to read this, recognizing the dozens of principals and assistant principals in our district. The Hillsboro School District recognizes that principals and assistant principals work tirelessly each day as visionaries, assessment experts, community builders, public relations experts, budget analysts, facility managers, program administrators, and guardians of various legal, contractual, and policy mandates and initiatives. Hillsboro School District appreciates that principals and assistant principals work collaboratively with both teachers and district staff to develop and maintain high curriculum standards, develop mission statements, and set performance goals and objectives for schools to achieve educational excellence. The Hillsboro School District honors exemplary principals and assistant principals who have succeeded in providing high-quality learning opportunities for students, as well as their outstanding contributions to the profession. Hillsboro School District celebrates that Principals Month gives an opportunity to honor and recognize the contributions of all school principals and assistant principals to the success of every student in the district. Therefore, the Board of Directors of the Hillsboro School District do hereby proclaim the month of October 2024 be known as National Principals Month. We encourage all community members to join us in recognizing the contributions and achievements of principals and assistant principals to the development and prosperity of our community.
Thank you. Our next agenda item is the approval of the agenda. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I move that the Board of Directors approve the agenda as printed.
It has been moved by Director Lopez and seconded by Director Thomas to approve the agenda as printed. Is there any discussion? Is there any objection? Motion carries. Our next agenda item is to approve the consent agenda. Would anyone like to make a motion regarding the consent agenda?
I move that the Board of Directors approve the consent agenda as printed.
It has been moved by Director Ward and seconded by Director Thomas to approve the consent agenda as printed. Is there any discussion or objection? Motion carries. Our next agenda is audience time. Do we have anyone signed up to speak this evening, Rose?
Yes, we have two. The first will be Donna Voth.
Before we begin, I'm going to read the audience participation statement. As representatives of the community, members of the Board of Directors believe that listening to public input is essential to making wise decisions. So we thank you for taking the time to be here. We consider this your time to speak and our time to listen. So individual board members will not reply directly to you immediately following your comment. If a board member hears something that requires additional attention, they may request it to be added to a future meeting agenda, or the superintendent and his designee may reach out directly to connect with you. We are fortunate in the Hillsboro School District to have a collaborative community that can discuss points of disagreement in a respectful manner. With this in mind, rudeness, ridicule, obscene or profound language, impatience, lack of respect for others, and personal attacks are not acceptable. Comments aimed at state and federally protected classes are prohibited. Audience demonstrates supporting or opposing a speaker or idea are not permitted. We welcome frank discussions of district operations and programs, but in public sessions, the board does not hear comments regarding any individual district staff member. Public participation in board meetings is governed by policy BDDH, public comment at board meetings. There are structured channels for the board to review complaints involving staff members described in board policy KL, public complaints. As you start your remarks, please share your name and, if speaking for an organization, the name of your organization. We allow up to 3 minutes for each public comment. Please feel free to follow up by email to the board or the superintendent.
Donna Voth. Up to the podium. Yep. And state your name and address, and then you can begin your comments.
My name is Donna Voth. Address is I'm here tonight to discuss some issues. I have talked to numerous parents at Glencoe High School, and it's all kind of a same consensus. We have probably every other parent that I've talked to over the past 2 months, our children will not use the restrooms. They literally wait all day long. And some kids get off the bus and have to use the restroom before they can get in their house. It's become a huge issue, and I don't know if anything's being done. It's just something that you have kids vaping in the bathrooms, kids doing stuff in the bathrooms, and I don't know if anybody knows, if they're going to do anything about it. But you have a lot of parents with kids that won't even use the bathroom at school. I think that's an issue. Also, I read over the budget, and I didn't see really anything about sports activities, equipment, that kind of thing. There were a couple of things about coaching pay and activity pay under the general fund, but there's really no more detail in regards to that. And I've heard that they're not funding or they're not buying helmets anymore. I don't know if that's true or not. I've talked to a couple people and they're concerned because we do pay to play. Also, parents at Glencoe have heard that Hillsboro High hasn't had to pay to play. I don't know if it's just 1 year. Just not sure where our funds go to if our kids, we are paying to play, because I've been doing this for 7 years. I have 1 more year to go. So my other son, we paid every sport. This son that's going to Glencoe, we pay for every sport. So just wondering where our funds are going if they're not going to the sport that they're playing. And then the last was, in regards to the sports, if that is happening where funding's being cut for the sports, why can't we have a booster club? Because I know like bands and color guard have booster clubs where we can actually raise the funds. But from what I've been told that we're not allowed to do that, and not really sure of why, if we can't get funding for equipment, why can't we have a booster club to take care of that? So those are my main concerns right now.
Thank you, Donna, and I'm sorry for mispronouncing your last name. Next is Nancy Hirsch.
Hi, I'm Nancy Hirsch, and my address is I'm here because I care deeply about our youth. I'm a mother of 2 strong and beautiful women who graduated from Glencoe High. One is a PhD in Latin American languages, and the other is a medical doctor in psychiatry. I'm also a former Washington State public school teacher and a piano instructor of many, many years. I love both children and teenagers. Because I have been personally witnessing the tragic outcomes of transgenderism within my siblings' family, I have researched the phenomena of the ideology and have become so very distressed. I looked up the Hillsboro School District's Teacher's Guide for K-12 Health and Sexuality Education. It basically mandates all employees and teachers use preferred pronouns. If a child is a biological girl but wants to be referred to as a male, the school personnel is compelled to go along with it. And I correct me if that's incorrect. Pushing the social transition through pronouns is far from a neutral or harmless act. It's actually an active intervention. There are many studies to confirm this. The CASS report, CASS, which is 400 plus pages of science and studies-based research, has completely reversed how many countries in Europe are now treating this ideology. And we should reverse our policies too. Europe is where this all started, and Europe is where it's stopping. These countries have prohibited the use of female pronouns for use with biological boys and vice versa. Now in Europe, no cross hormones or surgeries for transgender purposes for minors are legal. The big takeaway, and my reason for being here, is it has been found overwhelmingly that social transition of prepubescent children will dramatically increase the rate of persistent and perpetual gender dysphoria. Dysphoria is real. We have anorexia for that. Please look up the Stroop effect, which is on page 129 in this book that I have gifted to each person on the board and the superintendent. Puberty blockers are not reversible. FDA stated side effects are fertility problems, brain swelling and loss of vision, lower IQ, osteoporosis, heart problems, heart arrhythmia, impact to brain structure and social and cognitive function. As far as surgery goes, it too is irreversible. We are effectively and dramatically shortening the lifespans of our young people. The consequences of getting this wrong are dire, and we would not forgive ourselves. We would never forgive ourselves if we get this wrong. In conclusion, this book that I am gifting to each of you contains solid peer-reviewed scientific studies and research. Let the saving of our precious children's lives begin with us right here in Hillsboro. This is neither religious nor political. The appendix is huge. It's all documented, and appreciate your time. Thank you.
That was it, right? That was all of that. I wanted to say thank you to our community members for being here and addressing their comments. Our next agenda item is the financial report with District Financial Officer Michelle Morrison. Michelle?
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. We've had a lot of transitions in the business office over the last 3 months, and I just couldn't be more grateful for the team and partnership within the office and across departments. It's been really amazing to see.
I just want to publicly thank you. We've said this before, we brag about you to other districts because everybody doesn't have a Michelle. Everybody doesn't have someone who understands the numbers and they live with it and they tell us in authenticity when we're doing good and when we're doing bad. You talk to us direct when things are tough, like they are right now, and when things are good. So I'm saying it again. Thank you for everything you do and for all of the ways that you educate us and answer all of our questions. We deeply appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the report, as always. I heard during public comment period, a community member have a question about sports funding. I don't know, you may not have that handy, but you may come back in a future month. But do you have any information on, has there been changes in how sports are funded this year compared to previous years?
No, I do know that the costs for athletics activities have really accelerated since returning from the pandemic. So everything from officials to equipment to transportation, those costs have increased. The fees for sports haven't increased. We do have in our budget, we have a revenue item that shows where those funds come in, and we have expenditures where they go out. I know that we do have some administration here too that can give more detailed information, especially about Glencoe High School and the programs and the helmets. So we'll be following up with you for sure.
Yeah, I know that we put a lot of resources toward extracurriculars, all kinds of including athletics, because that's one of our key 5 strategic goals, is increasing extracurricular participation. So I want to make sure we highlight that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle, one other thing, when we make that information available, could we do it for all of the high schools? As a prior parent of a lacrosse player, $500 to $700 a year. So I am very well aware, and they still will not recognize the sport. So nothing is paid for. So we just want to make sure that there's equity going across. I know that's important for us, and so if you will include that as well for all of the districts, all of the schools, high schools in the district. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else you'd like to add? No. Our next agenda item is the Division 22 Standards for Public Elementary and Secondary Schools 2023-2024 Assurance Form, Part 1 with Assistant Superintendent Brooke Nova.
Hi, good evening. So we're going to do 3 parts tonight of Division 22. The first one is around the 23-24 report, which also is outlined. You have a comprehensive report that also goes along with this presentation. We're going to look at what we're doing this year in 24-25, just kind of as a look ahead of what's coming to us in our ask around compliance work. And then we'll go into part 3, which will be another presentation on an action item. Okay, so first let's look at 23-24 Division 22. I also want to acknowledge, thank you, Scout Troop, for being here tonight. And compliance can be fun, and I'll try to make it that way for you. How about that? So thank you for being here in the audience tonight. I just wanted to recognize that I appreciate you being here. Okay, so first we'll go over an overview of what Division 22 is. This is something that every year we go over and we wait until the entire year is complete. So, we're looking at up until June 30th of 2024, and that's why the timing of this report comes out in September. The compliance with Division 22 standards ensures that every student in Oregon public schools is provided with a baseline level of service that meets the standards set by the state. These standards are not only the requirements that districts must adhere to, but they also are monitored and tied to state school funds as well. There are 4 large categories around Division 22, and then there are rules that fall under those 4 large categories or buckets. So we're going to go over some of those this evening. Some examples of what those rules fall under in those buckets are outlined right here as an example. Also, as you're going through the presentation, but then also referencing our compliance report, if there's any questions that come up between now and October, when we'll be asking for the approval of submitting our 23-24 report, those links take you to any specific rules that are outlined out of the 60 that we report on. Division 22 assurances. Districts are required to report to the community in a school board report, and that's what we're doing here this evening, and to post that report on the district website. Districts must then submit the assurances to ODE for each rule, and the district either says they're certified in compliance or outlines a out of compliance corrective action plan, which we have one of those out of the 60 that we'll go over this evening. Division 22 articulates the floor of the education to be provided to students, and the compliance with Division 22 Oregon Administrative Rules ensures a baseline level of service across our state. Okay, so if a district is out of compliance, they do submit a corrective action plan. We have had one. This 23-24 year was around our social studies adoption, so I'll share kind of the results of that and how our corrective action plan has helped us guide through our curriculum adoption process over the last few years. In the 23-24 school year, we are to make a report in the fall so that we can report that accurately. There are some rules on which we have to wait until this time in the fall to be able to share, as I previously have just discussed. One of those examples are instructional time requirements. So we need to wait for our school year to be done before we can accurately say we're in compliance with things like instructional minutes. Division 22 waivers. So just something to know, and this is carrying through the 27-28 school year, is both of the essential skills assessment and then the essential skill assessments for our English language learners. Those have been on a waiver since 2020, and again, that will be in place until the 27-28 school year. A new rule that's in effect of that 23-24 year is the menstrual dignity for students, and this is the first time that we are reporting on compliance with this rule, which we are in compliance with. So that is something new in that 23-24 report as you look over that. Another one is that we have created and the state had adopted in June of 2023 to develop and implement an annual update written about our health services plan for all students. I have reviewed that, and we are in compliance with what is outlined in that OAR. So just to let you know, we are in compliance with 59 of the 60 areas with one corrective action plan, again, that is on our instructional materials adoption. This last one in 23-24 was on the social studies adoption. So as a timeline around social studies, just to kind of bring us back and anchor us to the good work that's happened over these years, getting together the leadership team, going through the adoption process. Our CCAC was part of those classroom walkthroughs, as well as reviewing the materials. And then thank you so much, board, for approving our TCI K-12 social studies adoption, which occurred in April. And I'm happy to report that now those instructional materials are in our classrooms, and we have started on the professional development and implementation of all materials K-12. Okay, so that is part one. That is what you're going to review over the next few weeks. And then in October, you're going to see me again. And if there is any questions that you may have along the way, please ask me those questions. And then we will be looking for an approval, a vote, so that I can submit everything to ODE to ensure that we meet that deadline. Okay, part two, here we go. So the 24-25, I'm going to keep going. The 24.
I think part two is actually in the first presentation.
Yep. Yeah.
We don't have three presentations in our packet. We only have two.
You have two.
I think
Yeah.
I think we're supposed to stand.
Yep. Part two is looking ahead. Okay, thank you. Okay, so part two, looking ahead. In the 24-25 year, here's the work that we are currently doing that then will be reported on this time next year. So in 24-25, what we are currently working on is these pieces that are outlined. One, our social emotional learning standards, K-12. Two, the personal finance, which is a 0.5 course, and now the 0.5 career pathways skills. We have had the 0.5 career pathway skills in our diploma requirements for some time. Personal finance has been an elective for us, so now we're looking at how to implement that as the diploma requirement, which is outlined in that second OAR, is to include both of those as part of all diplomas in our state. The other pieces that we're working on in 24-25, one, there is a requirement now that districts provide an annual information about different diploma offerings, different diploma requirements, and then as well as the certificates that can be offered as well. So currently our team is working on what that letter and annual information will look like. Another one that is also something that we're working on is that the state is currently working on giving us the substance use prevention lessons that they are recommending. And our team will review those. And in 6th, 7th, 8th, and then one time in high school, there is a requirement now that we give a prevention lesson on opioids. So that is something that in 24-25 we will be working on, so that in turn we can meet that compliance requirement in next year's report. And then something else that we're working on is the K-12 math adoption. So currently we are reviewing curriculum. We are about to begin the pilot process of that adoption, the adoption of math. This is something that was brought forth last year at this time, and so currently we're working on that. And the team will continue through that pilot process, and CCAC will be a part of that process, and we will bring forth our recommendations late winter, early spring. Okay, so that is part 1 and 2. And if you have any questions now, I'm more than happy to take those. Again, you'll have some weeks to review that report that's attached, as well as this presentation, and then we'll take action in October for that upload to the Oregon Department of Education. Anybody have any questions for Brooke? Okay, we're going to move to part 3. Here we go. Okay, so here is the piece that I am asking for action tonight. So as we're working through our math adoption process. We should be doing a science adoption this year. My ask is to submit a postponement of the purchase of state adopted instructional materials around science for a year. So that would go into the 25-26 school year. So we're working on math. We'd like a year of postponement and start working on science the following year. For the reasons outlined, one, to submit and continue to be in compliance with our corrective action plan, we need board approval. The second is to ensure that we are taking the time around our math adoption, and also that our educators have that time as part of the process to really focus on math, and then we can do our science adoption and that focus the following year. Also, our financial responsibility to ensure that our adoption and able to really see how much that's going to cost us before we start at a science adoption at the same time. And then it gives us also some time with our math pathways to see how the alignment of our math coursework and how science connections can be made. So again, we're asking for a postponement to start in the next school year of 25-26. I also want to acknowledge, thank you, Director Ward, for asking the question about bringing this forward at a different time, and I did get a answer from the Oregon Department of Education. We are in the time frame of this ask. I can bring that forth in the spring of any additional postponements that may be something that the team is recommending. So I can definitely adjust that if this time period right now is feeling a little out of sequence. But again, this ask in alignment with being in compliance, she said, is just fine. So I just want to acknowledge that question and provide an answer as well. Okay, so I think we've gone through 1, 2, and 3. Again, the reasons for science are outlined for you. If you have any questions about that, though, please feel free to ask.
Any questions for Brooke? No questions. Just to say thank you for the follow-up. That was going to be my question too.
Yes,
okay.
Of course.
Thank you.
Yep.
I just want to thank you for preparing us and briefing us on it. Pull it even closer. Thank you for the briefing. You made a little joke that we were going to try and make compliance interesting earlier, and I think it is important for community members to think about the fact that processes like these are how we balance the local governance of our district by a locally elected board who has an interest in the unique sensibilities of the community and the broad community of statewide Oregonians in ensuring that every student in the state has an adequate and exemplary education. So these reports are a way that we have a lot of local governance, but also the state experts are able to ensure that we're meeting key standards. So I think that this is a really nice way of thinking about that relationship. And so I'm glad we go through this, and I'm glad that Hillsboro School District is setting a very high standard in terms of our curriculum and all of our standards.
I know everything's on a rotation and we're just out of the one. Does sort of backing up science back us up into something else that is going to have to be backed up as well? Like, will backing this up cause a ripple effect?
Science is the last piece of this plan. I think what's important, though, is that we're going to go through our adoption process this year, but we also need to review finances as well. So,
right.
So even though we're going to go through the process and we're going to bring forth an adoption, I think where we're at right now, it's important to also be mindful of the finance piece. So it may be that I'm bringing up an ask to postpone science a little further. It may be that financially we're in an okay space by 25, 26. So I just want to separate the adoption process and the purchasing of materials, but I may be bringing this back up depending when we know more about finances and how that may impact that adoption cycle process.
Yeah, I know we're going to get a broader, or I guess more targeted budget update at our next work session, so that's great. For how long can we file postponements with the Oregon Department of Education before we get into trouble?
As long as I submit that corrective action plan in the window of time with outlined reasons of why and our commitment to continue to follow up and update the board, we can continue to do that.
Okay.
It's if I didn't do that and bring this forth to you, that then we'd be falling out of compliance. But I think that we're in a good space to continue this conversation.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Go ahead, you had a follow-up.
So Brooke, I just wanted to make sure that that means that we're still within the time frame, and then they know that we're not ready to commit to the money yet because we've got things, and then as soon as we are, then we give them a timeline, a draft timeline, and we follow up. Is that correct?
So right now, in the adoption process for math, we're following what we have outlined to say, and outlined again, we'll submit this for science, and then if there are things that come up along the way, then we'll continue to update that corrective action plan, be in communication with the Oregon Department of Education, and submit the reasons why we're making some changes to our plan.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
My question is also tied to the financial impact of the, I know there was a couple of items on there, maybe Michelle or you could speak to items on there that were passed by legislature, and we have to now come up with funding. So I saw like personal finance and also the Menstrual Dignity Act, which of course we all support both, but is that also, I just want to make sure I clarify that that's a financial impact, right, that we weren't planning or budgeting for.
And I will clarify that the Menstrual Dignity Act was in the 23-24 report, and there are some minor financial pieces that the personal finance piece is one that we're looking at right now, and that would be something I'd report in compliance of 20 of our next report, so of our 24-25 report, because I was a year behind, I think a school year. So that is something that also we need to look at our finances again. We may need to submit something to the Oregon Department of Education where our finances are and be in communication with them as well. So as the team though, right, because right now we're just looking at curriculum. We're looking at curriculum and math, and we're starting to think about how personal finance could roll out. That's where we're at. We need to then look at the financial impact of what curriculum could cost us, think about our budget, and then move forward from there. So that's where I'm like, the adoption and kind of thinking about materials and then purchasing are in two different phases. Is there anything to add though, Michelle, in terms of financial components? Am I speaking at her? Okay.
Just on the Menstrual Dignity Act, there was a grant, like a seed grant for startup and implementation, to encourage that, because there was a little bit of, equipment and different requirements there. So there was a grant available to support that, but it was still even just, it was a percentage of the actual costs, and the continuing costs will be absorbed in our operational budget.
Something that I failed to also mention is I need to thank this team because they helped to put together the Division 22 report, and we worked so strongly as a team. So I just want to thank everyone around me and also to the board, because every year we're hearing this, we're having this discussion, so thank you for that as well. And then also I always like to give a shout to Susan Payne, because she's the one that I contact if I have any questions, or that will be in communication if anything changes. So I just wanted to say all that. I did. So I would feel terrible if I didn't say that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Brooke. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I move that the Board of Directors approve the one-year postponement of the Hillsboro School District K-12 science adoption process to move from 24-25 to the 25-26 school year.
Second.
It has been moved by Director Lopez, seconded by Director Ward, that the Board of Directors approve the one-year postponement of the Hillsboro School District K-12 science adoption process to move from 2024-25 to the 25-26 school year. Is there any further discussion? No? Rose, could we get a roll call, please?
Erica Lopez.
Aye.
Patrick McGuire.
Aye.
Nancy Thomas.
Aye.
Monique Ward.
Aye.
Mark Watson.
Aye.
Yvette Pantoja.
Aye. The motion has passed. Our next agenda item is to appoint the Community Curriculum Advisory Committee members. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Yes, I would. I move that the Board of Directors nominate, move the Board of Directors appoint the following candidates to two-year positions. Position 1, Jennifer Bell. Position 3, Oprah Alvord. Position 4, is that Hannah Holt? Position 5, Ava Christina Hawes. Position 7, Shirley Pate. Position 8, Marie Bowman Davis. Position 12, Jimena Van Dyke. Position 13, Lindsay Slick. Position 14, Lauren Jones. Student position 1, Jesse Alonso Garcia. Student position 2, Natalia Bonac Garcia. Position 3, Lucy Allen. Position 4, Riley Gregory. Position 5, Matthew Hill. Position 6, Paige Rameni? All of the students who applied are being nominated.
Second.
Ramsey.
It has been moved by Director Watson, seconded by Director Lopez, that the Board of Directors appoint Position 1, Jennifer Bell. Position 3, Oprah Alvador. Position 4, Hannah Holt. Position 5, Ava Christina Hawes. Position 7, Shirley Pate. Position 8, Marie Bowman Davis. Position 12, Jimena Van Dyke. Position 13, Lindsay Slick. Position 14, Lauren Jones. Student position 1, Jesse Alonso Garcia. Student position 2, Natalia Bain K. Garcia. Student position 3, Lucy Allen. Student position 4, Riley Gregory. Student position 5, Matthew Hugh. Student position 6, Paige Ramsey. Any discussion? Yes. McGuire?
I'd just like to say that it was a joy over the past week to read over the applications of all the folks who were willing to serve on the curriculum committee. I served on the committee for 4 years before I joined the board. It was such a lovely time, and I was so impressed reading over the applications this week with the riches of exceptional people who care very deeply about education and our students. We had scientists, researchers, industry experts, parents, volunteer advocates who speak to the experiences of just a small pool of applicants. They spoke to the experiences of children from so many different backgrounds and circumstances. And I got all of that just from the 2-page application responses. And so I'm really excited to see what valuable insights all these folks share once they're actually on the committee. So it just made me feel incredibly honored to represent the Hillsboro community, to be reminded of what caliber of people we have here. So I think they're going to be a great addition.
Rose, could we get a roll call, please?
Erica Lopez.
Aye.
Patrick McGuire.
Aye.
Nancy Thomas.
Aye.
Monique Ward.
Aye.
Mark Watson.
Aye.
Yvette Pantoja.
Aye. And motion carries. Our next action item is to nominate members to the OSBA Board of Directors. First, I'd like to thank Director Nancy Thomas for representing the Hillsboro School District and the Washington region on the OSBA Board of Directors for the last year. Earlier this evening, we discussed nominations and Director Thomas expressed interest in continuing her work on the OSBA Board. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I move that the Board of Directors nominate Nancy Thomas for the OSBA Board of Directors, position number 20.
Second.
It has been moved by Director Watson and seconded by Director Lopez that the Board of Directors nominate Nancy Thomas for the OSBA Board of Directors, position number 20. Is there any further discussion?
Thank you for continuing the work.
Second that. Thank you for doing the great work of helping that organization get on track and stay on track. I know it's, having been on the Legislative Policy Committee, it's a lot of extra work. So I appreciate you finding extra weekends to be out of town and get all that kind of stuff done. Thank you so much. And I would just say also, we're not nominating Director Kotke from the Forest Grove District today. I'm sure their board will do that, but I look forward to voting for her continuing as well, because having gotten to know her over years, she also serves our region very well.
Thank you, Nancy, for all of your work. We are highly appreciative of it. Rose, could we get a roll call, please?
Erica Lopez.
Aye.
Patrick McGuire.
Aye.
Nancy Thomas.
Aye.
Monique Ward.
I'm going to abstain from this vote.
Mark Watson.
Aye.
Yvette Pantoja.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passed. Okay. That concludes our action item portion of the agenda and brings us to the HCU HEA reports. You can decide who goes first.
Good evening, Chair Pantoja, Vice Chair Watson, fellow board members, Superintendent Ryman, and administrative leaders. My name is Mary Kay Babcock. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a proud music educator going on 28 years. 24 of those years are right here in the Hillsboro School District. I am the president of the Hillsboro Education Association, and I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of our students and our licensed educators' needs. As we continue to work for a better educational environment, I want to first take a moment to acknowledge that we are in the midst of Hispanic Heritage Month, a time to celebrate the rich contributions of the Hispanic and Latinx communities to our schools, our society, and our culture. Our classrooms are better because of the diversity of our students and the staff who bring unique perspectives, traditions, and experiences. Let us continue to honor and uplift their voices every day, not just for this special month. I'm proud to share that HEA has reached 97% membership going into this school year. Out of 1,292 unit members, we are fewer than 50 potential members away from full participation. The level of solidarity is critical because our members understand that protecting our working conditions, our students' learning conditions, requires collective strength. In recent bargaining efforts, we have tentatively agreed on Article 3, which includes academic freedoms. This agreement gives educators the autonomy to bring their content to life, creating classrooms filled with engagement, creativity, and joy. We are also facing some significant challenges. Let's be real. We all agree that every student deserves access to a free and public education. Fully including all of our students in our classrooms requires appropriate staffing, support, and resources. The current system leaves many students waiting far too long to receive the assistance that they need. This not only risks the safety of others, but also delays instruction, often pushing meaningful intervention too late into the school year. We must do better for our students, their families, and the educators who bear the burden of navigating this under-resourced system. At the start of each school year, our educators are requested to document students' behaviors and educational needs in order to qualify them for services to support their needs. It's been reported that this year, many of our educators, this could involve up to 8 students per teacher. This documentation process disrupts the learning process and is not conducive to quality instruction. This is unacceptable. Our students deserve better, and so do the educators who are responsible for their education. That brings me to our key bargaining priorities, which we urge you to consider as you make decisions that will impact the future of our schools. Class size and caseload. Smaller class sizes and manageable caseloads are essential. Overcrowded classrooms prevent educators from giving students the individualized attention they deserve. We've heard from educators struggling this year due to FTE reductions compounded by the lack of classified staff and an increase in students with extreme needs. This situation is unsustainable and harmful to our students' learning experience. Safe learning environment. Schools must be safe and supportive environments for both students and staff. Unfortunately, extreme behaviors have escalated in general education classrooms since the implementation of Neighborhood Schools Initiative. Without sufficient support staff, students and teachers are placed in distressing and at times traumatic situations. It is critical to fully invest in staffing and resources to meet the needs of all of our students, particularly those with significant academic or behavioral challenges. Competitive compensation. Fair compensation is about more than just paying Fair compensation is about more than just paying educators. It's about attracting and retaining qualified professionals. As a nation, we are facing severe shortage of teachers and support staff, and competitive salaries are essential to reversing this trend. However, recent district messaging around financial challenges, particularly those related to the projected forecast shortfall of enrollment and the Oregon paid family medical leave, has created anxiety among staff about job security. Transparency is key as we work together to ensure the financial stability of our district while also fairly compensating our workforce. One job should be enough. Adequate planning time. Educators need adequate time to plan lessons to meet the diverse needs of their students. The current workload often leaves educators working unpaid hours just to keep up, which is not sustainable. We need to prioritize building more planning time into our school schedules to support high-quality instruction. Time to manage IEPs and 504s. Supporting students with IEPs and 504 plans is crucial, but the time to manage these documents is often insufficient. These legal requirements ensure students receive the services they need, but without enough time to manage them properly, students are left behind. We must ensure educators have the time they need to fully support all of their students. I don't come to just complain, I also come with solutions. In addition to these immediate concerns, we must think about long-term solutions. Advocating for increased state funding is crucial. And locally, we support your exploration of the options of a levy to generate additional revenue. With these funds, we can reduce class sizes, hire more support staff, and offer competitive compensation to attract and retain quality educators. Special education services. Oregon's current 11% cap on special education services is harmful to students, which require specialized support. This arbitrary limit leaves many without help that they need. This is leading to burnout and the loss of experienced professionals. Without proper staffing and resources, we risk worsening, that's a fun one to say, we risk worsening this crisis. Families deserve schools where their children can thrive, and that starts with supporting the educators who dedicate their lives to this mission. Lastly, I want to encourage everyone to participate in the upcoming general election. Our democracy is strongest when every voice is heard, and voting is a key way to make sure that our needs, especially those of our students and educators, are represented. Please take time to cast your vote, encourage your family and your friends to do the same. Our collective action at the polls is essential to creating the future we want for our schools and our community. Thank you for your attention to these critical issues. I believe that together we can build stronger, more equitable education system that benefits both students and educators alike. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the school board, Chair Pantoja, Superintendent Ryman, and esteemed guests. My name is Alicia Infante, and I am the Political Action Chair on the HCU Executive Board and the Contract Action Team Coordinator for this bargaining season. I'm also the Wellness Instructor at Reedville Elementary, and I've been with HSD since 2019. HCU proudly celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month, honoring the cultures, histories, and contributions of our Hispanic and Latino members whose hard work and dedication strengthen our community and drive us forward every day. Before school began last month, HCU held interviews with most of the candidates running for the open city leadership positions that will show up on the ballot this November. I'd like to introduce to you the local candidates that have earned HCU's endorsement. First up is for the position of Hillsboro City Council, Ward 1, Sabah Anvery. Next is Hillsboro City Council, Ward 2, Jake Mead. And for Hillsboro City Council, Ward 3, we chose Mark Grambo. For the position of mayor, we have endorsed Beach Pace. Each of these candidates has demonstrated that they share a commitment to keeping public education in our city a top priority. They agree that classified employees play an essential role in our daily operations and that their dedication and hard work create the conditions necessary for students to thrive and for teachers to focus on delivering quality education, which is why they earned our endorsement. So what's next for me as our local elections are satisfied? I'm so glad you asked. I'd like to speak a little on my plan of action as I proceed in my role as a political advocate for HCU's classified members to focus on the upcoming state legislative session in February. What I have realized through connections and conversations with many of you, our classified members, licensed staff, local leadership, parents, and even many state representatives, is that we are all deeply frustrated by the ongoing lack of adequate education funding, which affects every aspect of our school system. This shortfall not only strains teachers, staff, and resources, but also directly impacts our most vulnerable group, our students. They are the ones who are ultimately the most impacted. I think we can all agree that when students succeed, the rest of the impacted groups also succeed, and I'm sure that you are all aware that all roads lead to funding at the appropriate level. So I want to leave you all with a proposition tonight. Banding together as one united voice will be incredibly powerful and necessary in advocating for meaningful change in education funding. By standing in solidarity, the school board, HEA, HCU, our local county and city leadership, other local school districts, parents, and community members alike, we amplify our message, making it clear that the need for equitable and adequate funding is a priority that affects every student, educator, and community within our state. My voice alone, your voice alone, parents' voices alone, cannot do what we could do together. It's together that we drive the change that will create a powerful enough impact at the state level to say, we've had enough. Our students deserve it. So I'm asking all of you who share the same interest, please reach out and connect with me to see how we can work together to achieve this objective as one united voice moving forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. This brings us to discussion time. We will start off with our student representatives. Abe, would you like to start us off?
I don't really have much to say as to...
Oh, can you speak in the microphone, please?
I don't really have as much to say as far as I go, but I trust that Gwen and Cal can definitely say some things.
I actually do have a few questions. Just I've kind of collected them over the entire meeting, so they might not seem like they have relevance, but I kind of picked them along the way. Anyways, my first question was actually, what are the main differences in funding for like rural schools, like versus like Hillsborough, like suburban schools?
Well, I was going to suggest that, first of all, awesome that you have a list of questions, and we want to address them all.
Might not be the
Right, but
yeah.
Here might not be the time. However, if you will do us the privilege of providing all of those questions to Rose, and then Rose is going to get it to all of us, and then we're going to make sure that you get all of the answers that you need. But I'm glad you asked about the rural districts because they are at the top of the priority poll, believe it or not, for OSBA and
Yes, apologies also for not sending these out earlier. I just came up with them as we were talking because they randomly came up, but
And I hope you feel empowered to like ask questions as
oh,
we go.
no, very, yeah, don't worry.
First of all, I would like to say it is an honor to be here. I am glad that I get to sit here with my fellow students and partake in this wonderful discussion. I would like to ask a question of Rose to confirm whether or not I may share an experience that is related to a topic shared by one of our community members. May I say something? An experience, my personal experience, that is related to a topic shared by a community member today.
This is definitely your time to do that.
Thank you. In regards to restrooms in our schools, I can only share what I've seen at Liberty, particularly only in the male restrooms. However, despite the very, very noticeable stigma that students possess regarding our restrooms, I can confirm that students do use the restrooms. I see the bathroom pass trade hands as people walk out the door in passing to use the restroom because they are used quite regularly. And I'm glad that I'm very glad that I've never had an issue in the restroom, or I have never lacked for the commodities that one would expect in any restroom. And I'm glad that we get to have them at our school.
Thank you, Superintendent Ryman.
Thank you. I just want to share how awesome this time of year is. Students are back in school. I get to go out and visit classrooms. I was with a fifth grade classroom today, and they were studying the prefix un, and the principal asked for an example of the word un something. The girl looked up and said, unmerciful. She said, spot on. Moving on. Hilarious. We get to go see football games, rivalry games. We get to go to back to school nights, and we get to see extracurricular activities and clubs start again. So welcome back. Incredible tone starting this school year. I want to say thank you to all the applicants for our board committees, including the CCAC tonight. There are so many different ways to serve in the school community, and I appreciate the encouragement and the recruitment that went on among board members to make sure that we had so many candidates tonight. Student reps to the board, welcome. Cal, Abe, Gwen. Gwen, we got you on all your questions. Thank you for your enthusiasm. I appreciate from HEA and HCU the messages of unity and advocacy coming forward into the legislative session. Thank you. I think we'll work together to make those things happen this winter. I also want to give a plug to the Hillsboro Schools Foundation, who have a fun run coming up on October 5th at 10 a.m. If you would like to get some exercise and raise money for schools, you can show up at Jerry Willie Plaza at a Renco station, maybe 9:30ish, and sign up for that. You can also register on their website to support our wonderful Schools Foundation. Thank you. Everybody have a good night.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and go with our board. Director Lopez.
I also just want to say thank you for everyone that has joined us and stayed for our board meeting. It was a treat that it was a short one this time around, so thank you for sticking around. And for our audience members that also spoke, it also takes a lot of courage to speak and say comments in a public forum. So I appreciate you showing up tonight and speaking your truth. And I also want to welcome our students, and not a lot of districts actually have student representatives on their board, and it's very important that we hear directly from your lived experience how our decisions that we make here at the board actually impact your day-to-day. So this is my 8th year being on the board, and probably I think it's our 4th of having student representatives, and all the time I'm super excited of different voices and different experience that comes. So welcome again. And also just a plug that we had a lot of applications for our curriculum committee, but we also have our budget committee, and there's 3 openings as well. So if any audience members or people are interested, it is also a fun committee. So I just wanted to make a plug, and welcome to all, also just our community to this new school year. Lots of awesome activities. I know it's transition time right now into the fall, and then we're saying goodbye to summer, which can be a little bit hard, but also it comes with a lot of really nice gifts. So thank you to everyone for tonight.
Director Ward? Yes, I want to say thank you to our community members for coming out. It's great to see large participation this evening. Also for our community members who spoke, really appreciate that, bringing issues and ideas to our attention. Thank you, Cabinet, again, for answering my questions and following up. Appreciate that very much.
Thank you, Director Thomas.
First of all, welcome to our Girl Scout troop. Woo! Fellow Girl Scout here, believe it or not. Second of all, I just wanted to say I do want to give a brief Oregon School Board report. And for our board members, I'm asking you to take some time to read the email that just came out today. It's a really good, concise email with regard to everything that we just accomplished in our retreat. And to our audience members, we are talking, when I say OSBA, we are talking about the Oregon School Board Association. And so I wanted to make sure that you understood that the association actually supports all 197 school districts across the state, at least the ones that are members, and there, I believe, only 2 or 3 are not members of that organization. That's incredible. And if you're thinking in your mind, what does this organization do? Let's just talk resources. Resources, insurance, legal counsel and guidance, purchasing contracts, legislative lobbying, board member education and guidance. Those are just the top of the priority list for what OSBA does. Very proud to be working with this organization. We have turned a corner. We have a new executive director. We're very, very proud of that and her leadership. We also, we just got back from our board retreat, and we did some very substantive things. First of all, we installed new officers, president, president-elect, vice president, and secretary-treasurer. And it's really interesting, and I just want you to hear this list. Grant County Education Service District is represented as our new president, Chris Cronin, if you know her. Our president-elect is from Helix School District, Emily Smith. Our vice president is Dawn Watson from the Phoenix Talent School District. And the secretary-treasurer is Chrissy Wright from Hood River School District. It is my pleasure and my privilege to work with these individuals from all over the beautiful state of Oregon, and it's so awesome to have the interest and have the representation of the rural school districts at the table. It is critical and it's crucial in how we do business. So I don't want you to think that that is not being taken care of, because it absolutely is. And in fact, for your information, they just became their own caucus just last year. So there is a rural school district caucus as well. Some of the actions that we took on the board that are really important for you all to understand as well. The first dues increase in 25 years. Not sure how they got that, how they went that far without it, but they have been. And so what we did was we actually did a graduated increase for most of the districts, and that includes a special graduated increase for our rural districts, so that everyone can participate, whether you're large or small. We also established the third board caucus, which we're really, really proud of. The first caucus that was created 2 forgive me, I don't like this name, but it is what it is. It is the Caucus of Color. People of color, and so we have a caucus. And then the second one is the rural school district. And then the third one that we just voted on is the Pride caucus. So we're very, very proud of them. And I am also very proud to say that it wasn't a unanimous vote. And I need to explain why. Because we are also going to pause any further caucuses, and we're talking about this now, so that we can look at the caucus structure and see if it really serves our needs. Are we working together to represent everyone? Do we really need a caucus? Should it be an administrative council? We have lots of ideas about that, but everybody wants those groups to succeed and to thrive and to have a safe space to be. So I want to make sure that I said that as well. We're also going to do a clarification redraft of our bylaws. We're working on that. And then we laid the groundwork for the redraft of the strategic plan. I bring to that group the experience that I had in working with our strategic plan, and so I'm really looking forward to that as well. So coming in the fall, OSBA has its annual meeting here in Portland, November 7th through the 9th, and I am super stoked to have our student members with us. If you haven't noticed that, we're very proud of them. And when we go to that meeting, we usually have at least one or two of our members there, our student members with us as well. And they get thrown in the fray and they go to the session and we introduce them to as many people as we can. And it's actually a very wonderful experience. So I'm hoping that you guys have the time to join us for that weekend. Also looking forward to having, looking forward to participating in the legislative advocacy that's going on in Salem right now for that proper funding that HEA and HCU that our groups are asking for. We are absolutely on it. They have two, we just hired another one, legislative aid that is solely dedicated to advocacy, and it is phenomenal. Your needs are not lost because there is something that we have in common, whether we're in a rural district or whether we're in an urban district, it doesn't matter. For whatever the reasons are, I am new to the state, like 8 years new to the state, but I didn't get the chance to participate in the decision to fund this place the way it does. Not the greatest decision that the state's ever made, but a decision nonetheless, and we're still working with it. But I'm here to tell you that we are working toward it, and I think this time of all times in the past decade, this is what I'm hearing, is that we have the ear of the governor, and that is a blessing. And I think it works for both the union, it works for both the boards, it works for the schools, it works for the kids. Now, having said that, that is not going to get us the sport funding that we want. And I just want to say it, and it just drives me nuts. But I'm also a big fan, and it's really weird that my little one, my gentle giant, is now in college now. He just graduated from Liberty High School. And I know how I felt then, but until we realize and until we correct the funding mechanism in this state, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be really uncomfortable. And we have to get comfortable with that discomfort, or we have to pick up the phone and call our legislators, the real people who really can make a difference and can make a change. I am not passing the buck in any way. What I am saying is when it comes down to the funding and how we do this, it starts in Salem. We can do it. They can do it. We have, I believe the number that they gave us is we have over 150 new legislators this year. Not a good picture, right? It's great for them, but it's not good when we stand up and say, we need more money and we need to understand what current self-service level funding is. Current self-service level funding is out. That went out with the pandemic. And what the teachers are dealing with right now is a different kind of student, a different kind of adulthood, family. All of that has changed. And we deserve, our students deserve, we as parents deserve a better way to have this happen. If we could flip the switch and do it for you, we would have done it. So we have to go to the people in Salem who have the power to make the change. That's where this is. So when we talk about legislative work, when we talk about advocacy work, we need your voice. The same voice that tells us that your child can't get into a bathroom at Glencoe, and I have no doubt that Superintendent Ryman is going to look into that. But I can tell you what, we need to make sure that our voices are heard in Salem. Nancy is going to take her beautiful melanin tones to Salem, and we're going to talk to whoever listens. And I urge you to join us as well. So once again, thank you to the Girl Scout troop. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to the board who continues to be phenomenal. And the last thing I wanted to say is that, Rose, I am thrilled to death that it's official. I believe that I will be presenting at the OSB annual convention, and I chose your group, and I'm really proud of that. So.
Thank you, Director McGuire.
Thank you. I was thinking this week, there's a novelist who wrote that autumn is the second spring where every leaf is a flower. And for me, having volunteered in this education policy world for several years, the autumn leaves bring to mind the excitement of new beginnings. A new school year, teachers and students excited to be working on new things and new adventures. So I'm excited to be out and about in the schools and see that at work this coming year. I wanted to briefly mention that I spoke to a community member before the meeting who mentioned that she had some difficulty finding on our website the public comment details about how to come and give public comment. So I want to check in with our communication team to make sure that we have that prominently featured, because we love having folks come and join us at these meetings and share their input. Like Nancy, I was interested to hear about the difficulties some students are having accessing restrooms. Certainly, as someone who grew up with asthma, I would have difficulty being in spaces where there's smoke residue also. So I hadn't heard that in my conversations with community members yet, so I'm looking forward to having an update from our leadership in the future about that. And then finally, I'd like to say I really thank our HCA and HCU representatives for their important briefings. In particular, while noting the practical challenges educators face, I agree with you that we can build systems and structures that address those challenges. So it's an optimistic vision that I think we share, but that will only happen if we do bring all our voices together. So thank you for underscoring that, and I think everyone here and hopefully all of our community members are ready to be invested in that task. So I'm excited for the school year ahead and to be a part of the HST team.
Thank you, Director Watson.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you've already heard. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. It's always great to be back in the room in a chair I never sat in, which is kind of fun. I'm always either down there or over there. So it's first regular meeting in September is always start of the academic year, and renewal is great. In case you haven't heard, we had an interim update while most of us were getting ready to come over here. As somebody who was a band parent long before they were a school board member, the Glencoe Marching Band has been invited to march in London, England on New Year's Day parade in 2026. So that's kind of amazing. I felt like it deserved a little bit of a shout out. So congrats to the Glencoe High School Marching Band. That's so awesome. I wonder if, who gets to go with or whatever. Yeah, I am not a band parent anymore, right? My kids have graduated. And to Nancy's point about current service level, I think we've been stuck for too long in this cycle of current service level. It literally means doing the minimum. It means doing the bare minimum of what we did last year. When we were in the time of economic crisis, 2008 perhaps, that may have been a reasonable way to think about things. When the financial bottom is falling out of the state, let's figure out a way to at least keep doing what we're doing right now. But as the economic conditions improved over the course of 15, 18 years, we did not remove ourselves from that scarcity mindset of let's try to figure out the bare minimum we could do. We spend too much time debating whether the mechanics of the math on current service level are right, and we continuously hear from the Office of Business Administrators that it's being calculated incorrectly. And we celebrate when we get halfway between the legislative fiscal office's number and the governor's number and feel like that's a win. And I feel like we should stop thinking about how we do the bare minimum and think about in these times of economic growth, how we invest in our kids as opposed to try to figure out how to do the bare minimum for them. We've heard about people experiencing anxiety over the budget. I can tell you that's shared. I also have quite a bit of anxiety over our budget as well. So I'd like to think we're all in this together. Thanks.
Thank you. I wanted to say thank you to our community members for voicing your concerns for us today. And, you know, like my fellow board members have said, it takes a lot of courage to come out here and get your voices heard. So I appreciate that. Thank you to our student representatives for being here, and congratulations on your first regular board meeting down here. And I wanted to say thank you to our cabinet team. You guys do an incredible job every single day to get this district moving and successful. And I wanted to say thank you also to my fellow board members for all the work that you do, and, you know, coming here and doing this, you know, because this is a volunteer position. And, you know, taking that time out of your day in life is really important. And so thank you. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.